Not every Facebook ad you see on the library or what comes across your feed should be implemented directly for your brand. Now, the proper way to go about creative research is, if you see a high 8-figure brand run a text image ad that goes like what Apple iOS looks like, you see that running and then you want to give it a shot, that intrinsically doesn't really talk to your customer demographic. It doesn't talk to who you're trying to attract. And ultimately, it will not help you as a business owner as you're trying to grow your business, right? If you're at the 6-figure a year level, you shouldn't follow what an 8-figure a year brand is doing. Now, the context behind this is if you see an ad in the ads library from a competitor and that ad's been running less than 90 days, well, then the chances are that ad isn't a winning ad. It's something that's just they threw it on the wall and they tested. So when it comes to market research, it's very important when it comes to just looking at creatives in general. You need to be aware of the type of offer that's being pushed, the type of copy being utilized, what angles are they going after their customer demographic. Is that more so bottom of the funnel or top of funnel, where the awareness is either completely broad or the awareness is to a specific archetype? And then ultimately you want to figure out, okay, what is the timeline of how long this creative has been running for. I see too many times where founders at the 6-figure a year level copy what an 8-figure a year brand is doing and they see the opposite results. They're not seeing any success whatsoever because the sophistication of their brand in the market is at the very bottom. Whereas with the 8-figure brand, they're spending 5-10K a day in ad spend. So they have dominance in the total awareness of the market. So it's very important that what you test should be directly for what you're trying to optimize for in a marketing aspect. If you're going fully broad with broad campaigns, well then generally you want your copy, you want your angles, you want your static images, you want your GIFs, you want your UGC to reach the broader demographic, right? If your product specifically for females, you want to reach females between 25 to 40 based off your customer data history, whatever that median range is of your top customer demographic. You want to be able to talk to those individuals. And then if you're looking to optimize for bottom of the funnel to get more people who previously bought from your brand, well then your copy should mimic somebody who just entered your ecosystem, right? If they came in from a specific offer or opted in on a specific subscription, your copy, your angles should reflect that specific customer demographic. Now, if you see an 8-figure brand do something completely out of the ordinary, you shouldn't do that for your brand because the chances are you will not see the same amount of success versus that 8-figure a year brand. So creative research, of course, you can pull ideas from these different concepts, from these different ideas, but I say this to say, you want to make sure that you're aware of ultimately the strategy behind how it applies to your brand. A brand that's trying to grow their top of funnel customer base looks very different from a brand that's trying to increase second order frequency. And like I covered before, the ways we look at the success of an ad is ultimately the timeline that on how long it's been active for. Because when you go into Meta Ads library, you can see your competitor ads. It can give you a date on when was it first launched, right? And the 90-day threshold is enough time for me to validate whether this has been a winner or not. Anywhere from 45 to 90 days is a sweet spot of what you want to see ultimately, because a winning ad should be able to run for longer than 30 days. 30 days is like the threshold, it's a barrier to entry. Anything longer than that should give you an idea of, okay, this worked for this specific brand. Let me see how I can apply it to our brand. Whether you're using Meta Ads library, whether you're using a software called Foreplay, it's very important that you keep in mind the timeline and the range of said ad. And then ultimately, you want to look at different variations of said ads when it comes to creative research. Now, of course, you cannot compare your brand to an 8-figure a year brand or a 7-figure a year brand, depending on where you're at. So as you go up the ladder, make sure you tie your concepts to ultimately what the marketing strategy is. Because 9 times out of 10, your marketing strategy should encompass acquiring top of funnel brand new customers. That's the only way your business is going to grow at scale. It's acquiring top of funnel customers, and then as a byproduct, you have a strong LTV on the back end, right? Your second order frequency, your third order frequency is occurring every 60, 90, even around 180 days. So it's very important that you align your creative strategy with what you're optimizing for. I've seen it time and time again where your top winning creative says a specific angle, right? Let's say we're going after the apparel space and our angle is our shirts are 3 times comfier than your normal basic tee. It's like a us versus them comparison. And then you go and that user lands on the landing page, and then your landing page says something completely different. It's not congruent to the actual creative. Like your landing page could say how durable and how long lasting your shirt is. So somebody who clicked through on your creative that's more us versus them, and they land on a landing page with different messaging, could be the reason why you see a drop off. So it's very important to be aware of, okay, you have some synergy from the creative to the post click, and then the post click to the actual offer. Because the thing is, right, you can get a user to land on the landing page. That's not hard. But to get that user to actually convert, the messaging has to be on point. You have to have a no-brainer offer in place to get this user to buy off an impulse, because more than likely they might land on the landing page once, and if you're lucky they might land on it twice. Very rarely do I see that same user go back to the landing page a third or fourth or fifth time. You have 1 or 2 chances to capture that transaction before you see that drop off of wasted ad spend. So I say this to sum up my points and my theories is, when it comes to creative strategy, we want to be aware of, okay, what level is this brand at? How long have they been running ads for? And the benchmark should be, to validate a winning ad creative, it should run longer than 30 days and be in a threshold between 90 to 180 days, up to 90 to 180 days. That's kind of the sweet spot to tell you, okay, this ad has been working for this brand. Now keep in mind, what worked for that brand might not work for your brand, specifically based off marketing objectives and what your overall strategy is. But what you can do is keep in mind the concept and the way the brand portrayed their message to their customer. Because you can mimic a same archetype or same prototype, but you change your messaging to align with your objective as a business owner, which should be acquiring top of funnel brand new customers. So that's where you can fit your own demographic. You could add your own spin to something you saw that worked in the past and apply it to your brand. It's very important that you update what worked for a different brand to ultimately align with your marketing strategy. And ultimately you want to align congruency from creative to post-click to offer. That's going to boost your conversion rate more than anything else, more than any media buying tactic, more than any interest-based, cost caps, big caps, whatever, right? It's taking ourselves outside of the funnel and fixing the variables that's going to move the needle for our business. Better creatives equals higher click-through rates, which equals cheaper costs to get somebody to land on the landing page. When somebody lands on the landing page, if we have our speed optimized, that equals less drop off from click to actually post-click experience. And the more users you have on your landing page, intrinsically, you're going to see a higher percentage from click to add to cart ratio to initiate checkout to actually complete purchase, because the average threshold between complete purchase from somebody who actually lands on the landing page, you're looking at an optimized site would be 10%. On average, brands are anywhere from like 5 to 6 to 7%. Average conversion rate is 1%. So you're looking at anywhere from 2-3% on average brands. But to be at the upper echelon of business, you want to have a conversion rate of anywhere from 8 to 10%. Ideally 12%, that'd be great. But these are the variables that are going to move the needle for your business. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. And if you're trying to build in-house, you want to exit your company one day, you're tired of getting burned by ad agencies, check out scalevelocity.io, where you can read my full 30-page protocol showing you how to build all these variables I talked about: creatives, landing pages, offers, how to do that completely in-house so you're not outsourcing to agencies who outsource to junior level account executives. With that being said, guys, I'll see you in the next one.